Grant Dania now.
It's Grant Dania.
The gold logie this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Dania.
And our mom, Shazzy Dania. She's really crazy.
It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shazzy Dania.
We are going deep today, team. We are going deep. We are getting physical.
Ooh.
We are going sensual. We're going to level up your love game is what we're here to do today.
I feel wheezy already.
Oh, yeah. You're out of breath already because you got a little bit of GD loving in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Can I get a, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Hello, guys.
There he is.
George, you missed the wardrobe memo, clearly.
Yeah, but look, what I'm going to do is pretty much involve myself with the red tones and point towards my hair.
Yeah,
No, but
he's
it doesn't-
bringing red. He's bringing red upstairs and downstairs.
Oh,
That's all good.
it doesn't look...
Red all over.
It looks just a nice light shade of brown. It doesn't look red.
What is black and white and red all over?
What? Oh, newspaper.
A newspaper.
Yes.
You guys are too bloody good. Too good. Now,
Hey, what are we doing talking about newspapers on a podcast? They're our rivals. Stuff the newspaper.
Who buys a newspaper anyway? Hey, we might have jumped the gun a little earlier on the previous episode talking up our new camera, our new HD resolution and some fine lighting effects behind us because when I put that bad boy up, it had somehow decompressed the quality of the video and that might be something that happens again today. So if... That's right. There's something going on in the house.
Yep.
We're going freaky deaky with our technology. Yeah, so if it looks a little fuzzy on YouTube, bear with us. It's a work in progress. I'm working through these issues and hopefully it's not today, but if it is, just give me a little bit of time and I will
I
get
think
it.
the company said we have to have it sorted by season 30.
Yeah. That's how I deal with most of my emotional issues. Wait for season 30 before I deal with them.
God, season 30. That sounds like...
It's just a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
We only have 2 episodes a season, so...
What episode is this?
This is episode 4 of season 8 Legends.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So how many have we done all up? Does anybody actually know?
I did an interview with a very prestigious newspaper just yesterday, and they were raving about the outrageous success of this podcast.
Were they?
Clearly, they haven't listened, but that's okay. They were going like 8 seasons. Wow, and just you guys covered some ground. It started as just you and Shezzy just talking about your lives, and now it's so much more. And it did start out with something a little bit different, and it has grown into something else. And I kind of like where it's going.
Yes.
There's no topic, off the table.
No.
We got to meet George's new squeeze.
Yeah. How was she after the episode last episode?
Guys,
whatever.
she was absolutely mortified. She was so nervous to come in and have a chat. And as she said in the interview that she's a little bit nervous when you first meet her, but as you get to know her, she becomes an absolute lion. But loved meeting you both. I think the first meeting of the parents was lots of fun.
Oh, good.
And no, really, really good times. I come to this episode today with a bit of a problem.
Oh, what?
What? It's not over already, is it? Does she dump you?
I've had enough.
No.
You introduced me to your podcast listeners and I'm out of here.
Worse, guys, worse. I was eating chips today at the pub and I went to pick up one of the chips, real thick chip. I went for a bite and actually bit the tip of my index finger and it's actually starting to swell like a mofo.
Oh, my gosh. How hard did you bite it?
I don't know, but my hand is shaking. My hand is shaking.
Gosh.
I've never heard of anybody doing that ever.
I
So
thought-
going past the end of the chip and taking a bit of finger with it.
Yeah, so everybody eats chips the same way, I'm assuming. You got
No.
your thumb and your index finger. No?
No one eats their finger with a chip.
I never put my finger in far enough. When I eat a chip, I put the tip of the chip in.
Yeah, I can't.
Just the tip.
I can never get her to put more than the tip in, mate. It's just that's as far as she lets it go.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I've gone all the way in. My finger is in my mouth and I've bit the tip of it and it's just in agony. So
Well, you just
I just
lost
thought I'd
in
bring
her
that up.
eyes, and you just lost the geography of where the end of your body starts and and the chip ends,
Guys,
or
I was just by myself eating some chips. Like, there's nothing more to it.
Well, you just. I don't
ludicrous
even know.
injury.
How big was the chip?
It was a really long chip, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to deep throat this mofo, and in the process, got my finger.
I thought you were going to say that you'd bitten the tip of your tongue, because I've done that before.
That's a horrible feeling. I'm glad I didn't do that.
what
but
about
this
the inside of the
This is just
cheek?
as bad.
The inside of the cheek when you take a bit of skin off the inside of the
awful.
cheek. Ah, God damn it!
I've never bitten my finger.
No, I can't say I've bitten my own finger. I've bitten other fingers. not
Usually
yours.
primary school kids do this kind of stuff, so I haven't grown up.
A couple of times on the footy field. I don't want to mention it in case there's a referee listening. But yeah, I might have gone rogue.
What, bitten some other kids' fingers?
Took a couple of digits. Yeah, in the gob.
You're like a shark.
Yeah,
Not like Hopawati.
not
up the wate.
the finger up the anus. No, I did not go that far. But you know, sometimes you just got to get the job done out on the field. Life's
You were
tough as a
biting
first
the
grader.
finger. You were biting the fingers of players who were doing fingers up the anus. You were doing a good service.
Yeah, I was getting rid of those dirty fingers.
That's
and
disgusting.
So they would never do it again. Hey,
You were eating stink fingers.
you know, when someone does a fish hook on you from behind, and then you're like, and you sort of bite.
Fish hook? Who are you? Oh my God.
Look, you don't
Bloody fisherman.
do 3 ball boy stints on 2 state of origins and actually 4 and 2 test matches without having a bit of an idea of knowing what to do on the footy field. Can't say my career as a rugby league player was very long and illustrious. Once I realised that those Tongan kids were going to be a lot bigger than me. A 14-year-old Tongan boy, it looks like a 25-year-old adult. And when you are as small as me, that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going motor racing. I'm going to go race go-karts. I can't pull one of these kids down in full flight.
Is there any footage of you doing this ball boy action?
Yeah, I tried to find something the other day, actually, on YouTube. I can't find it. It was like 1992 or 3, somewhere around there. It was in Melbourne, state of origin. I was on camera, leading the Blues out through the tunnel in my little white.
Was it the
getup.
cameras that were more appealing or the football that was more appealing to you?
Look, I might have stopped and had a little quick glance in the lens just to see if there are any ladies out there who like what they saw. A little glint in the eye, a little cheeky GD smile. G'day, ladies. As I ran out. And then like Laurie Daly just pushed me in the back, said, hurry up, son, I need to get out there and play some football. Which I think was a little bit rude. That was my moment in the sun.
How about our next door neighbour? We got sent some footage the other day. She's been playing for the Waratahs
Yeah.
and scored a try.
For the New South Wales state team.
Jacinta Windsor.
Mate, she was out on the wing and my God, she can run.
God, she was quick.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That entire family, because I went to school with the Windsors, and they
of
are
course.
very athletic, aren't they?
They
Most
are.
of them, I'm pretty sure.
Well, she was a runner slash sprinter, and now she's completely transformed into a rugby girl and killing it. Should be playing
Something
for
in
Australia.
the water in Bathurst.
Yep.
Well, I haven't been drinking that water.
Nope, you haven't.
No.
Neither.
No, Grant's been walking the Mount Panorama.
It's a big mount.
Yeah, it is a big mount. I've been watching from the base.
She watches me on
Driving alongside?
No, she watches me on Find My Phone. So she just watches my little icon just go around the mount. So she feels like she's there with me, but without having to do, the legwork.
Yeah.
Because it's very steep. It's tough. And as you can hear, she's a little breathy at the moment. So
I
maybe
am a little breathy.
exercise is probably not the right thing until she clears whatever she's got, bird flu or.
I don't know what it is. It's really annoying. I can't shake it. I think I've got long COVID.
Yeah, there could be a bit of that going around.
But you can have
some
long-
lingering headaches.
You can have long COVID for 6 months.
Yay! Oh, that sounds fun.
No, it doesn't. I'll lose my voice by then.
God, I only wish. Huh? Sorry? What was that? What did you say?
Hang on, if you lose your voice, that means it'll just be GD and I doing this podcast.
I know.
Boys gone wild. Woohoo!
Oh my God.
Boys trip.
I can imagine what that'd be like.
Just like the Gold Coast. Just a couple of young, good-looking roosters just up there tearing it up. The GC.
You mean toolies?
Going to Cavill Mall. and out red frogs to everyone up there. G'day, love. You might need a bit of sugar. Get that in ya. Isn't that like the nice thing that they do for the
Red
for the
frogs.
schoolies? They go up there. Yeah, there's teams of people that keep an eye out on the kids, and they and they hand out like red frogs and stuff just to make sure everyone's all right. And
Is that legit?
Little party bags.
yeah, they do. Yeah.
Little party bags of
Yeah.
what?
No, it's
Yeah, well,
different-
comforting
different-
things.
different stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's
They're
legit.
the other guys, sorry.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was this bikie over there, and he was selling me some party bags. Wow.
He smiled. He looked friendly.
Didn't look like red frogs when I opened it. No, there is a wonderful group of people who, and it's their job to be sort of minders.
Just
And
walk
it's
around a couple of kebabs.
Yeah. Say, here, Dal, looks like you need this extra chili one. Yeah, to sort yourself out. Which I think is a nice service. If your kids were sort of in that age and they were graduating and
I'd be saying
letting
don't
off
take
steam
food
and-
from strangers.
yeah, not even red frogs.
Not even red frog.
They wear like official volunteer T-shirts and stuff. So they
Oh, well then.
They
'cause
kind of
nobody-
look like cops.
No one can fake those outfits.
no, they're one of a kind. Those
No.
shirts they can't be replicated at all.
There's probably a themed night where you've got to dress up as those people.
Yeah, it's
Someone was
I don't
telling
know who to turn to for help. Everyone's wearing the same thing.
Someone was telling me the other day that it was in the paper that somebody was arrested for impersonating a police officer with a siren and everything.
Fair dinkum.
You know who did that?
Who?
Not that exact person you're talking about, but someone on the rival network, Kyle Sandilands, once impersonated a cop for many, many years when he was living in Queensland.
What do you mean?
What?
Yeah, it's in his book.
What did he do?
He's got a book?
Yeah, he had like a car. I might be speaking out of school here. I don't know the full story, but yeah, he was impersonating a cop as a bit of spare time while he was waiting for a radio job.
It feels like that movie, you know, the two dudes go around. What's it called? It's called something like We Should Be Cops. And yeah, it's one of the Wayans brothers and another comedian. And they get sort of really good uniforms and they go to a party and they're like, let's just actually do this. Let's just pretend. And then they're involved in stakeouts and drug busts, and then they get caught up in the mix of these bad guys, and then
They're in shit.
one guy's really into it, the other guy's not so into it. And
Yeah,
he
let's
keeps trying-
let's back out now.
yeah, and the other's like, nah, we're all in, we're all in. It's very funny. We could be cops. It's called something like that.
We could be cops.
Yeah, we're still waiting for our guest to join us.
Yes.
Is it that obvious with the way we're talking at the moment?
Are you
the
saying that
expert
this is
padding?
not A-grade quality bants? You know what I mean?
No, I can just hear some of the listeners going, I feel like they're on one of their little rants where we go, you know what?
Just
They're
ramble.
waiting for a guest.
Mate, we've covered you chewing off a limb. We've covered Carl
True.
Sandilands is a fake cop. Mate, we've told everyone how to pretend to be nice at schoolies on the Gold Coast, even if you have sinister means.
It's pretty good content, actually, now that I think about
There
it.
you go. Mate, well, we're in the newspaper as well this week, so you know we're punching out. We're getting out there.
We're in the newspaper for the podcast.
Yeah, I was talking about. Well, I got interviewed about times I was sacked because the podcast from the newspaper has been dropped, and they were like, "Let's do our last episode talking to other famous people who've had projects axed." So I was talking about those.
What's that feeling like when you get something that you've put your heart and soul into and it's not necessarily your fault, it's just a combination of so many other things out of your hands? Is that explain that feeling?
Well, I probably would have hosted, I reckon, 15 television shows over 20 odd years. You know, so.
It'd be more than that.
Probably would be. Some of them
reckon it'd be
come and
20
go.
plus.
Some of them just have a natural finish. Some you care more about than others. So it's kind of like a breakup, though. It's kind of like a breakup with a girlfriend. But each one, you know, maybe some shows you love more than others, and some breakups, some shows hurt more when they go than others. But yeah, it's a natural part of life. You know, very few television shows, you know, will last a decade. So everything comes to an end, and there's normally 100 reasons why a show might finish. You know, is it any good? What time slot is it on? What is it up against on the other networks? You know, who's in it? Does the network support it? Are they spending much money on marketing? There's 100 reasons why, you know, a show might not be thriving. So you try not to take it personally, but you can't help it when you invest so heavily into it.
But some shows.
What's the best?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Shez, you
Some
go.
shows that you've had that have been axed, you don't really miss them, do you?
No,
'Cause
not
sometimes
really.
you're forced into them and you don't want to do them.
See, a lot of shows, they, in my career, can I speak about my career? They come to you with an idea, and you're like, oh, you know what, it's okay, but it's not something I would choose. If I had one dream, what would it be? It's probably not this, but you sort of you do them anyway, because working in the industry is a great privilege and it's a lot of fun. But we'll talk about being sacked in radio as well. That hurt. That hurt because, well, having said that, there were 4 other teams in 4 years before me that had been sacked. So I kind of knew it was on the cards. But you invest so much, and kind of like this podcast, you tell so much personal stories. You really open up, and you kind of have to engage an audience and to be open and honest. You got to tell humiliating and embarrassing stories and funny stories, and you really open your life up. So when you open your life up like that, and then the show is still axed for whatever reason, that hurts because you've invested so much personal, intellectual property, so much of your story into that show, yet it didn't have an effect. That was like, wow, I really gave all of myself for that. So that one kind of stung. That took me a couple of years to recover from.
And that was hard. That was hard because we had to, as a family, because our house wasn't that big when you were at home, we had to wake up so early. We had to all go to bed like by 7 o'clock.
It's a real life investment, those gigs. So yeah, it's tricky.
When people see you down the streets, GD, are you most recognised for your work on Sunrise or Family Feud or another show? Like, what's the thing that people recognise you from the most?
Yeah, Feud and Sunrise. Sunrise is still a big one. I think because you're part of people's daily routine for 10 years, that really cements you in their lounge room, so that you really do feel like a fixture in their life or their family. So yeah, there's a lot of family. There's a lot of Sunrise recognition, but Family Feud was also a big game changer, and because that was on at 6 o'clock at night, so that's part of everyone's nightly routine. And instead of watching the news, people wanted to watch something that was light and fun, and you'd muck around and you'd take the piss, and people would say stupid things on that show, and so there's a real soft spot for that in a lot of people's lives. So yeah, it was cool. But I'd done 2,500 episodes of that when it was axed, so it didn't sort of hurt as much because I'd really had a great run and was very thankful for that. And yeah. So that.
What do you do when you chat to someone who like brings up some funny memory or some funny moment from an episode, and they're like, they're so invested in that moment that they saw on TV, and you're like, I have no fucking clue what that was they're talking about. Like, how do you engage in that? Do you have to pretend, or what do you do?
Oh, well, see, a lot of people come up to me and go, oh, I was on Family Feud. And I'm like, and I'm just looking dead into their eyes going, I don't know who you are. I can't recall. Because, you're making 6 shows a day. There's 2 teams per show, and there's
That's
4 members on
people.
each team. So 2,500 of those, there's a lot of faces that have come through. So I'm like, oh yeah, how did you go? And they go, oh, we bombed on the first night, or we went for 4 nights, or whatever. And so I have to just go, yeah, you tell me how you went, because there's no chance in the world I'm going to remember.
It's not humanly possible to remember all that.
Gee, we've had some nice emails from people over the years who, pardon me, have said that Family Feud played such a big role in their lives, or in their, parents' lives, and, they've since passed on. Or one lady said that she was going through a miscarriage at the time and she went on the show and you were so lovely to her. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah.
That's a nice story, though.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of people who came up to me and say they were new to Australia, and that's where they learnt English, was watching Family Feud. And I obliterated most English on that TV show. But they would come up to me and they'd be so, so thankful, because I was one of their first experiences in the country, and then help them come to grips with a language that wasn't their first language. So that's cool. But then also just giving away, millions of dollars in prize money to people who really needed it. That felt really great. We gave away something like 75 cars.
Wow.
So it was.
That's impressive.
That's a lot. You feel good when people come on, they have a laugh, they have a great time. Hopefully they say something stupid, because that makes the show enjoyable, and then they walk away, with a heap of coin in their pocket. Bloody good feeling. So we got a special guest today who's joining us. Her name is Tara Fischer. She's an absolute legend of a person. She's a loving, compassionate, intuitive, light-hearted and caring facilitator, teacher and medicine woman. And she joins us right now. Tara, can you hear us? It's Grant, Shezzy and George. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Grant, Shezzy, and George.
Yay!
Here she is.
We'll give you an applause.
Finally, yes, made it.
You are a wonderful human being. You've been in my life for the last 12 months or so. Been teaching me all sorts of stuff about myself and helping me on a healing journey where I dig through those moments in life that maybe were pleasant or not so pleasant and try and sort of work on them so they have more of a positive effect on my life rather than a negative effect on my life. But we're here because you have a special skill, which I actually don't know much about, which is a great reason why you are here. And it's to talk. Now, am I saying this right? Is it Tantra, tantric sex? What is it?
So I would say Tantra.
Tantra. Okay.
Tantra. So it's not just about sex. I teach more about the art of intimacy, which includes some basics of Tantra.
Now this
Okay,
is...
hold on. I need to go back because when I think about, and sorry about my voice, I'm all raspy. When I think about Tantra, I think about some mystical old age Indian practice. I don't know where, I don't know if I've seen it in a movie or something where people are sitting there and they're like in a yoga pose and they're sweaty and, looking uncomfortable. What are you looking at me like that for?
Yeah, I'm going, what movies are you watching without me? Because I'm tuning in. Hell. The only thing I know about it is that Sting, the musician, does it. That's really kind of where my knowledge ends. So would you enlighten us and our audience with Tantra?
Absolutely. So Tantra, for me, and the way I learned and I bring in the aspects of Tantra, it literally means to weave. So you're weaving sex and spirit. So I teach it in a very practical way. So it's not, I haven't been to India. I haven't meditated on a mountain all sweaty in one of those uncomfortable positions for hours. But I like to teach it in a very practical sense where it's accessible, where there's no dogma, there's no religion attached. It's not a long process to be able to bring the simple aspects of Tantra to weave. So we live in this piece of technology, the body, with meridians and energy points and chakras and how the energy and basically how the Western world moves in sex is our education model is pornography and rolling around in the backseat of a car and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah. But then that's just not sustainable. Right? That's just not a sustainable way. I call that the conventional. It's hot, hard, and it's fast. And it's all about friction. Friction. Let's get there. And what happens in relationships and us is we go for the hot spots, right? We go for, and then sex and relating becomes like a recipe. So little kissing, a little neck, a little nipple, a little clitoris, then your penetration, ejaculation, it's over.
I can see George.
So what happened?
Poor George, he's 21, so I keep watching his face and I can see him going, he's a quick learner. So
Tara, I'm so sorry. Grant and Shezzy have ruined me. If you met me in the first season, I would have been really serious right now. But I'm, no, I am. I'm going to pull myself together and be serious because these are actual parts of the body.
He's taking notes because he's got a new partner.
The timing's not great, Tara, because only in our last episode of the podcast, we met his girlfriend for the first time, and she is lovely, and he's fallen in love. He is only 21, so I feel like this is kind of level 10 when he's at level 1 of a relationship. But these are beautiful lessons to learn.
That's right. And for me, the art of intimacy it's like building a foundation for life. So intimacy just isn't about genitals and the friction, and let's get there. And it becomes very goal oriented, and it becomes something that's happening from the head and not from the body. So what I bring is this platform. So intimacy, and I just think it's the cosmic joke, right? So God, creator, whoever, whatever you believe in, created man and woman, and we're completely opposite. And then now we have to get along and work it out. Like, what are your needs and what are your needs? So in the porn model, it's only from a male perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not actually how a woman's body works. You know, we basically need foreplay 24/7. And
Right. Well, maybe I need to take notes.
Hang on, we said
This is
we. Do you
sounding-
mean women?
Well, I think she's talking about women.
women.
Yeah. That sounds
So
exhausting.
women and men too, right? So you have this conventional method, this hot, hard, fast, and you get in a relationship and then you put kids in the mix and then you put life in the mix and you put jobs in the mix. And the garden, I like to call it a garden. The garden that gets the least attention is the intimate and the sex garden. There's this expectation that it's Friday night, okay, work week's done, kids are in bed, let's go. So for a woman, we need time to open. So Tantra offers us teaches us about polarity, it teaches us about intimacy, it teaches us how to breathe and slow down. When you're just moving fast and you're going friction and it's passionate and that's awesome, but it has a lifespan. And that's just natural, you know, and I get a lot of couples who are like, okay, the spark's gone. Where did it go? The chemistry died. Well, it's natural. It's not meant to last hot, hard, and fast. So what Tantra offers you is a way to slow down and to feel more of you. So I think I did a little reel on it. It was like, you know, you have a slice of pie, right? And you just want to eat the whole pie. And you don't really taste anything, you know, or you have a slice of pie and you get a little teeny tiny sliver and you just get a little teeny tiny taste and then that's it. So Tantra offers you this big wide world of expansion and slowing down and feeling. And the genitals have their own intelligence, right? So we are electrical beings. We are the body electric. You know, when you feel someone, you can feel if someone's got good or bad vibes.
Yeah.
Because you're tuning in, you're feeling, you're sensing them, right? So this way you learn how to turn the body on, how to work with your breath, how to slow down. And in this slowing down, there is so much more pleasure possibility there and heart connection and feeling. You know, for me, Tantra like offers a way to see into somebody's soul, not just like the external fast, hot, hard, fast, right? So it's the difference between chemistry and alchemy. So chemistry dies over time. Alchemy is born over time. So when you have practices and tools and a framework to work in, you can like play to the edge of those boundaries, right? Instead of going, you know, I feel, you know, sometimes I feel like it's Friday, there's this big expectation that, you know, the cock's good to go. Oh, hope I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, you can. It's too late anyway. You fucking said it.
Oh, you can say anything on this podcast, I tell you.
You know, in polarity terms, man, woman, the cock is the positive pole. And in a woman, the vulva is the negative, and her chest, her heart, her breasts are positive. And a man's heart is negative. So we magnetize to each other like a magnet, right? So the principles of Tantra, learning about polarity, learning about communication, learning about boundaries, learning, you know, sex is the hardest thing for couples to talk about. And with the one you're having it with, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to think they're faulty. I mean, I didn't masturbate till I was 40, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, wow.
Because I didn't know how my body worked.
Yeah.
13 years in, making up for lost time.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. And why? And was that you didn't know how it worked, or was there a shame associated with that, or discomfort, or just lack of experience or exposure to it?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I had sexual trauma. I was born a Catholic, you know, born a sinner. I didn't have any desire. I tried a couple times. I thought, oh, I don't know how to do it. I didn't even know all the parts to my vulva. Like most people think it's a vagina, but vagina is only the opening where the baby comes out, but the vulva is the whole area. And there's so much pleasure when you slow down and you go soft. And Tantra offers you a way, but it offers you the way that I teach it, the art of intimacy, is a whole new framework to play with. So how do I come to my partner and, you've had a wank, right? For stress relief. It's like, oh God, I'm feeling really stressed out. I'm just going to offload and have a wank. So normally partners are using each other for that wank. So that's energy. So now you're putting all of your stress into your partner, and God, that was good. But the pleasure is about 0.7 or 7 seconds. But with Tantra, you go into these expanded bliss states of timelessness, and where you just melt and you merge and you become more energized. But we need to know a way, like, how do I even get there?
Yeah.
What do I even talk about? What are even the parts of the genitals? So in my Art of Intimacy program, I teach anatomy, physiology, communication, boundaries, polarity, how to open the body, how to work with the breath, how to bring appreciation and gratitude. In relationships, another part is you lose the art of gratitude because you just come into these, oh, well, he always takes out the garbage and she always cooks dinner. And we lose this appreciation piece, which for a woman, you open the heart through her breasts, right? That's why I say foreplay is 24/7, because it's how you're communicating, how you're waking up together. Are you having little rituals that are wiring you for love, or you just kind of get into this doing state?
Can I just ask, what do you mean by opening up the breasts to the heart?
So the heart is, so for a woman, it's feeling. So what's in the heart is our emotions, our feelings,
Yes.
right? And most women are disconnected from their breasts. And in the breasts, right, the tissue around the breasts are connected to the outer labia. And the nipples are connected to the clitoris. So it makes sense that, it's like Tune in Tokyo with the nipples and the clitoris.
Tune in Tokyo.
Takes a beating, the poor little clit. It's like, oh, I get it.
I love how openly you speak about all of this. I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gone right back to year 6. I went to a Catholic school. I feel like I'm right back in year 6, and I'm like, I don't want to laugh, but I'm
No, but it's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
Because you're right, and we are guilty of this ourselves, and I know
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to put my hand up here and say, you said something to me a
You
while
always
back.
try to tune in Tokyo, and I say it's not coming in, Grant.
And you said to me, and it's been playing on my mind for a while, you said a woman is like a flower and it needs to open first. And that's been playing on my mind for a long time. And
And Grant keeps trying to water me. It makes so much sense now. With
a
the
watering can on her head. I go, come on, you bastard, open up. No, I think about, it's made me think about our practices, and we're like, you're right, 3 kids. It's hectic. They're young. We didn't even have a friggin' lock on our bedroom door. So we were limited to a bathroom quickie. And everything had become, you're right, we were just stepping it out and doing it possibly out of, maybe at times, and I'm going to speak on my own here, I'm not speaking on behalf of Shez, maybe out of obligation or feeling like maybe that's what she needs rather than I want it. And we can all get to this point where the dynamic has fallen apart. And it's not anyone's fault. It just changes. And hot and heavy and fun and the start of a brand new relationship is exciting and fantastic and amazing. But it's very hard to figure out how to evolve that next stage of a relationship sexually.
That's right. And we're not given a manual or format, right? So then that's where I call it duty sex, the obligation, the duty. Well, we better tick it off the list because we're married. We haven't had it in a few weeks. We just better do the thing. It becomes that thing you tick off the list. That's not fun for anyone.
ritualistic. Yeah.
Yeah. And not even ritualistic, just the checklist.
Yeah.
Right. So the Art of Intimacy offers like little rituals where, and this is great what a teacher told me, if you want to open a woman, you've got to touch all of her, the whole entire body. But not only that, it's like inside the heart, where she's feeling adored and cherished and open, and that she can trust you to hold the space for her to open up to this, her wild nature, which is this really letting go. And the opposite thing about Tantra is like you relax the body open. So that doesn't mean you're like dead laying there like, oh, I'm so relaxed, open me. It's like I'm an active participant in my relaxation by using my breath to open my body. So let's all do this together right now. Just bring your attention to your genitals. Oh, it's all right, Shizzy. You're going to be okay. I was also born a sinner, but you're not going to hell. And just bring your awareness to your genitals and just squeeze your PC muscle. So like you're squeezing to stop urination. So just squeeze. It's like a Kegel exercise, right?
Yeah.
So you're bringing your energy and your awareness down to your genitals. And when you do this little squeeze, it tells the body, oh, it's time to open up the whole chakra system, the whole energy system, right? And now after the squeezing, now just close your eyes for a second and imagine you're breathing energy, earth energy, up into the root chakra, the genitals. So breathing, opening belly like a balloon. And then breathe out and squeeze. Can you feel the bottom of the root chakra kind of open a little bit, kind of expand on the pelvic floor? And people are surprised. They're like, wow, I can breathe into my genitals. I can breathe into my pubic bone. I can breathe energy there. So what does breath do? It brings aliveness and feeling and sensation. When you're trying to do it from your head, oh, I got to make her come first. So then, I feel good about myself and then I can go, right? Well, who's it about? It's not about you. It's about the other person. I had a partner say, oh, I just want to make you orgasm first. And I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of pressure. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of pressure for both of us. And also porn just ruins men. Like the poor penis, I call it pressurized penis. It's like, got to be hard. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. I got to do the thing. And I got to, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so aggressive and grotty, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't imagine, and I think it's only going to become obvious in the next sort of
future generations, the damage.
10 years as we're going to realize how damaging it actually is, because it's while porn's been
accessible
around for a long time, its accessibility is now so prolific, and particularly in young people and young males, that I think we're only going to learn how bad it is for relationships. Would you agree, Tara?
Oh, 100%, because I get men coming to me going, I've been watching porn forever. So what happens in the brain when you're watching porn and you're having a wank? Okay, I'm going to get a little bit spiritual and woo-woo here as well. So, and also a little bit scientific. So in the brain, you're looking at the thing and you're having a wank. So what's happening in the brain is you're wiring the brain for this specific thing to turn you on, which is very hard and aggressive. And I thought I had to be like the porn star. So I'm screaming like a banshee and I'm doing the thing. And I'm actually, I was feeling a little bit of pleasure, but not much. Right? So porn is designed to be addictive. Right. And then you need different porn and you need more porn and you need harder porn, and it becomes very shallow and empty. So energetically, you figure you are giving your life force, your precious seed, right, to the screen. There's like this big energetic entity behind it. And you're like, have it, suck my life force, take it.
And you're right. All that energy is supposed to be going to another living entity, of which you're supposed to be sharing their energy and having a mutual experience.
And it's about, love and pleasure and honoring and respect and reverence. And when you do that, when you slow down to feel, there's so much more pleasure and pleasure potential there. It's incredible. I was amazed. So when I went to my teacher I did a 5-day intensive with her. I said, okay, listen, I don't masturbate. I need to sort this shit because I don't know how my body works. And she taught me how to open my body slowly, how to breathe, how to slow down, how to open the breasts first. And it was amazing. You know, when I give tantric massages to women, I do yoni massage, so massaging the vulva, for 15 minutes. I'm massaging her for an hour and 15 minutes before that, and she's already feeling arousal, and I haven't touched anything, not even the breasts.
Wow.
I'm flabbergasted here. Hold on. Can I just go back? Sort of, did you say your teacher was helping you learn how to masturbate?
Yes.
Right.
And you were.
I know that's a big visual, but I just need to grab a little thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
Yeah,
One's about to tie.
go for it.
George, you still with us?
She's just gone off to get some
Yeah.
power for her laptop. Are you okay, buddy? Just checking in.
I'm still here, guys. Yeah, I've actually had to turn my microphone off a few times.
Yeah.
I'm breathing pretty heavily. There's been a few moments where I've been, sort of laughing. She's back.
Okay.
I've got so many questions. I don't even know where to start.
I'm not sure what I heard. Whether I heard that whether Tara was performing that on people she's teaching.
That was the next question So first of all, I guess I wanted to know a bit about your background, Tara, about when you started to learn this, because obviously it's had a big impact on your life. You went to your teacher and asked her how to masturbate. How do you have that liberation?
She's an evolved being.
Well, she is.
So she was my Kundalini dance teacher, and Kundalini dance is basically Qigong and ecstatic dance mixed together. So you're using the breath to open the chakra system. You're breathing into all the different energy centers. You're sounding, you're moving. And it started to wake something up in me. But I knew, Shezi, that I had bags of guilt and shame. You know, I was born that Catholic too, and I had sexual trauma on top of that. And I was using sex as a tool to feel empowered by being like a porn star.
Yeah, right.
But I was feeling really empty after. And I knew there was more. You know, I started to hang around in the circles and did my sex coaching. And I'm like, well, there's something that's not kind of switched on in me. So the 5-day intensive with her was, okay, let's go through the emotional stuff that's getting in the way.
Yeah.
You know, because there's all kinds of things that can get in the way of pleasure. Stress, cultural programming, upbringing, if there's sexual trauma there, how you've been doing it, the porn model. So we looked at all of those areas, and I started to unpack some of those bags that were getting in the way, that were literally blocking me from my own pleasure and learning how to move. So it's like she wasn't in a room and we're in there, okay, now let's go. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, it was more an energetic healing kind of.
Well, I would imagine
that's what.
Is it fair to say that quite a few people don't have great relationships, with their own body? Like I don't have any sexual trauma from an early age or anything like that. But I'm also a smaller guy. In high school, being a smaller guy is not a great thing. Either the bigger guys pick on you, the girls don't like the smaller guys. So I used to look at my body as I'm disappointed in myself. This is not what people want. So I've had that relationship with my body for a long time. So it can be in all of us.
Absolutely. And where a man holds his wounding is in his cock, because that's how he penetrates the world. Career, his woman, life. Like you hold all the pressure in your penis, right? So this offers you a way to kind of unwind that. And for a man, Tantra offers, how do I move the energy out of my genitals into the higher centers, into my heart, so I can become multi-orgasmic and feel more of myself, and not have to put this pressure, this goal to go, okay, I've got to get to the finish line and I've got to do this and I've got to do A, B, C, D, and then I'm good. Right? So much pressure. So when you have this framework of communication, but not only that, when you know the anatomy, the physiology, you've got some tools and techniques to put, and we're just, the fact is we're just not given this education.
No.
I've been teaching the art of pleasuring for 8 years, and people would come and they'd just be blown away. And I do a live demo, tantric massage on a man and a woman, and people were just blown away at my presence with the person on the table and how much they could feel when it looks like not much is happening.
Yeah. Wow. And what is a tantric massage? So run us through, is it physical, or are you working with auras, or is it completely hands-on, or is there no holds barred? How does it work?
So Tantra massage, the way that I practice, this is a one-way situation where they're receiving and getting to experience their body in a different way. So, and this is the same way I work with couples. So we talk about where they're at currently, where they are, their relationship, with their sexuality, with their self-pleasuring. And then we'll move into some practices. So some simple, how do I feel what's going on in me while I'm with you? Because sex is also a very individual thing that's happening with another person. So how do I go, oh, I'm feeling, we don't even know how to express our fucking emotions or our sensations, or how to even tune into that. Oh, I'm feeling tingly. Oh, I'm feeling opening. Oh, yeah. How do I say yes, no, more? How does that feel? So I talk about the whole framework. And then I'll put the person on the table, and it's very hands-on, and I'll do different layering on the body. The skin is the biggest orgasmic organ in the body. When you get those goosebumps, when you feel that's like the little goosebumps are the skin's just having little erections. Like, ooh, oh.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like, ooh, so how can I breathe into that so that can expand instead of having just this little focus point, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens too with friction fucking, okay, is the more friction that is happening, I mean, seriously, who's heard or said, fuck me harder? Okay, I'll put my hand up for that. Why? Yeah. I can't really feel anything. The friction makes it, the penis numb, and also the inside of the vaginal wall. So when you slow down, you become more sensitive.
Right.
And inside the cervix and the head of the cock, there's this little electromagnetic field. And it's like they have their own intelligence, right? So this little electrical field's happening, and, things can open up there that are actually amazing, and you're not even moving. But the penis and the cervix are doing their own little dance. So how do we slow down enough and breathe and sense to feel more?
George?
Tara, a little bit earlier, we were speaking about the spark in a new relationship and how that spark isn't meant to sort of last forever. It's not sort of designed that way. I've looked at the stats of this podcast. We've got a lot of people who are in new relationships that listen to this show. I'm not really asking this on my own behalf.
Yeah, sure.
At all.
Yeah,
How long does the spark go for? Has it got a time frame? And how can you get that back if it's gone or if it goes?
Yeah. Well, I can't say how long.
There's no average. There's no sort of average number of months that you get.
Between 2 to 5 years. If you put kids in there within the first few years, then it's going to go down more. Because then all of a sudden a woman's going through a massive initiation. I've had couples come to me the week before they got married, or new couples come, or couples who have just got divorced and going, I don't want it to happen the way it did before. I don't want to become one of those couples. So they want to learn something new so they can go a little bit deeper, and they can have a framework that is just going to get deeper and richer over time. And it's not about, okay, people try and bring the spark back and go, maybe we should try sub or dom or whipping or bondage or something to spice it up a little. And that's fine. But if you bring Tantra into the mix, you're slowing down. Like I was talking about how the tantric massage works. There's an education piece, There's some light practices with clothes on. You get on the table. I layer the body. I teach you how to breathe and stay present and relaxed at the same time. And then do the genital massage. So it's not I'm going to make you come or orgasm. That's not the aim. The aim is to feel more and to wake up. So it's like the tension release and the different layers of the body. So what I mean by layering is actually something hard, something soft, something spiky, something a little bit smacky. And the smacky, it's funny because I'll say to people, okay, I'm going to do different textures and you give me a yes, that feels good or not quite. They think as soon as I smack them, like, oh God, she's got the Dom suit on and I'm in for it. But it's about going back to how the skin is the biggest pleasure organ in the body, and it kind of wakes up all the pleasure. And then when you're breathing and you're breathing into the genitals at the same time, it starts to wake up your sensual energy naturally instead of forcing it open. And there's something really beautiful and delicious and delicate and reverent about that.
It must be satisfying that it becomes an absolute game changer in people's lives, in their relationship. You know, I would imagine you're seeing people at a point of frustration where maybe they're potentially no longer happy with their sexual activity in their life and the relationship is feeling maybe a little flat or unfulfilling, and then you reconnect them and give them some new tools to kind of explore this whole new area, and then boom, we've got a brand new, magical, awakened, loving, gentle, thoughtful, sensitive, new sexual experience. It must blow them away.
Yeah, and it's not only that, Grant, because it's the way that I teach, it spills out into everyday life. When we had the first lockdown, I thought, oh, great, I'm going to do an experiment and do pleasure date night. So everyone was at home.
Yeah.
So I had 26 couples, and it wasn't any like online orgy or everyone was naked and getting cocks out, nothing like that. It was like teaching this framework of the communication piece, the appreciation, how do I wake myself up when I've had a stressful week? So I'm not coming to my partner loaded. So it's about solo stillness. How do I do stress relief? How do I become really present? What is even presence? Like, it's where you're not in your head, where you're really in the moment. So couples loved it, and it started to spill out. They're like, oh, it's amazing because it just starts to spill out into everyday life. I'm more present with my friends, in relationships, at work.
Confidence boosting.
Confidence, 100%, Shezi. Like, your confidence, you're just a happier person.
So it could be a real cork in the bottle for some people's lives.
Yeah.
Cork in the bottle. Yeah. That's a great
What's
analogy.
Cork in the bottle. I'm like, cork, bottle what?
Like as in that's not flowing. There's just this little piece that's just, and everything's backed up behind it. And then the moment they learn to release that, everything sort of flows normally, again.
Yeah, and relax and to even realize like, oh, I'm not broken. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of, men want to know that, oh, the ego takes a real blow when they think they're not doing it right.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just have a lack of education,
And I think learning how to talk openly is, in that situation is a tough one. Like it's learning how to have a language because you feel like there is judgment so much. If I dare to say this, because this is how I feel or this is what I desire, then what if that's not met equally? Or if I get a weird face looking back at me, I will never recover from this question that I'm about to ask. You know what I mean? Like, how do we just lower the stakes? So it's not, so it is a loving place where all comments are welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you need a framework. Like, it's if you're having playtime and your partner says, oh, no, I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. It's really hard to recover from that because automatically the ego takes it personally. You're like, oh, and then all of a sudden you're like in your head and your own insecurity. And there's not a lot of love happening because you're both in your heads now. It's like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. Oh, God. Yeah. So it gives you that framework where the communication is soft and open. And it's a learning process and it takes time. Right. I designed a program based off the art of pleasuring, the pleasure date nights. And it's designed to work through 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So it's not
okay.
a quick fix. It's
Not. Porn is
substantial.
the quick fix that doesn't last, right? But this is a way that, I've had couples who are really young, and there's something about polarity and magnetism, that spark that dies. When you live with someone, you're in each other's pockets 24/7. That magnetism just goes, drops, right? So how do you get that back? Well, there's things in the body, breathing and movement exercises, where it brings that spark back naturally, not in a forced way.
I know that there'll be people listening right now going, wow, they're leaning forward. They're hearing a few things along the way. They go, well, that's me. I do that. They want to improve the way they go about their own sexuality and their own relationships and how they connect. What's a couple of basic starting points for someone who's on the beginning of this journey? What's a couple of little things that they can do to start it?
Little things to start.
Is it just sitting down naked and just looking at each other's bodies? Is it, is it that simple? Is it like where...
You mean for people who aren't quite ready to do a Tantra course, but they're interested to try a little bit of connection?
Right. What's an entry point? You don't have to be an expert, because sometimes we feel like in this world, well, I'm not that good. That feels like that's so advanced. I'm not at that point. But what is something that they can start with that is simple?
Well, one thing is, we give time to going to the gym, to eating healthy food, to doing yoga, right? So our sex life has got zero commitment or time or importance on the calendar, right? So when you make time and you put, like, I call it watering the garden, because we just have this expectation that our sexual garden should be blooming and flourishing, but no, it's like a fucking desert wasteland that you're not even watering it, but you expect it to be this blooming, fragrant, boring awesomeness. Right? So make time for it. Like, it's like, oh, automatically your partner's like, oh, this is something special. We made like one weekend a month, or, one evening a week. We do something called, I call them little daily rituals to keep in connection. And this is one of the simplest things you can do to start wiring yourself for love, is when my partner comes home from work or wherever, we kind of drop everything that we're doing, just kind of close it up for a second. And we come together and we just embrace and we synchronize our breath. And we just slow down and we relax the body and we stay there for between like 2 to 3 minutes. You'll know that by my, awkward hug. I'm like, I'm like, stay here and just relax.
It's like being hugged by a brown bear. It just does not let go.
You're like, oh God. And everyone has this little uncomfortability, like, oh. So I wait till you relax, and the nervous systems are actually starting to wire for love. Like, we were born wired for love. So when we slow down, we synchronize the breath. Before you have your pleasure date night, I recommend doing something that is stress relieving for you. It can even be shaking, or going for a walk, or going to the gym, or having a run.
Shaking?
You mean shaking your limbs out?
Shaking it off, like,
yeah.
Shaking off the day so you can start fresh.
Yeah, right.
Right. So you're not coming, I call it coming loaded. You're all stressed out. And you're like, oh, now it's sexy time. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get out of my head? Right. So you got to get into the body. So simple little practices, wiring for love, making little rituals. So we have another little ritual before we go to bed. And we say 3 things that we're grateful for in each other.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that is nice.
We wake up in the morning and we say, good morning.
Oh, that's nice.
And we do a little bit of Qigong together, or a little bit of whatever your jam is, there's lots of rituals that suit everyone's individual needs, but it's like you're making time to slow down together, but also bringing this gratitude and this ritual, because it really does get taken for granted. I ask a lot of my male clients, like, do you eat your meal like it's a job, like, let's just get it done. You're probably having sex like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're doing that wrong, aren't we?
What, we eat too
in the
fast?
morning? No, in the mornings. Get the fuck out. I'm trying to sleep. There's dogs and kids, and that was this morning because I coughed all night Grant was like, just give me 20 more minutes.
It was a rough night.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow and tell you three things that I'm. Oh, no, you're right.
No.
Move on.
No. I
Move
was waiting to hear what you said.
I'm going to say three things that I'm grateful for in you.
I'm going to say three times that I'm grateful for being in you.
Tara, I think we should both leave right now.
Screen down.
I like the idea of bringing attention to that area, like you did at the very start when we thought about that genital region, you're breathing through it. I like the fact that the skin is like the biggest, most sensitive organ, which is a great way of getting things started. What about the next phase? You know, what about, so now our bodies, we've shaken the day off. We've done some exercise. We're now very present. We're connected. What next?
Well, no.
We all lean in.
We love a game, and this is in my Art of Intimacy program. Well, oh God, there's so much I could share. We love a simple little game called the 3-minute game, and it's a Betty Martin game, and it teaches you how to ask for what you want and negotiate. Like, the first time I played with a group of friends, it wasn't sexual, right? So you don't have to do it sexual, but it's still really nourishing in intimacy. So, well, maybe I should do something even more simple. Okay, even more simple. So after the stress relief and that, you talk about fears, boundaries, desires. Mm-hmm. Okay, what are my fears? My fears are my body's not going to work. My fears are I'm going to fall asleep. My fears are like, whatever your fears are there, I'm gonna fart. My fears are like I'm too full. I'm just like whatever, right?
Yeah.
And what are my desires? Oh, my desires are to slow down and to feel more of myself. My desire is not to have ejaculation this time. My desire is to feel my breasts more if you're a woman. My boundaries are, okay, what are my boundaries? Oh, I don't want penetration. My boundaries are, we often have to put a time boundary. My time boundary is, okay, 2 hours.
As in long or no, you don't want it under 2 hours?
What? Yeah. What 2 hours for?
Or an hour. Like, and this is if we're doing the whole, like if we're having a specific, so we'll have the conversation and we'll do some dancing and some stress relief. And you'll be amazed that 2 hours, it feels timeless. And then, 3 hours later, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? It's like 3 hours. Wow. That was incredible.
Wow. Wow.
Like you just slip into this timelessness, which is amazing.
Well, that sounds ideal.
That does sound bloody magical.
I was thinking like 2 minutes, which is weird. I know we've got a lot of work to do, don't we?
All right, righto. We are recording. The red light is on.
Oh, no, I don't mean 2 minutes. No, I mean like 2 minutes. 2 minutes before
2 minute
kids,
noodles
before the kids come in.
Yeah. Time has unfortunately has been a factor in our life.
Well, that happens when you have kids, though. You're really busy, and you do fall into that trap where it's kind of like, you still want to be intimate with your partner, and you quick. The kids are busy, they're in the toy room or they're doing something, and it's like this, this pressure. But you're right, you have to build in, special intimacy times.
Because you go.
The thing that's great is, so in my Art of Intimacy program, I've made micro Tantra tools. I've even made the videos like only 5 to 15 minutes because who's got time for hours and hours and hours of study, right? So I made it as building a foundation and a platform where 3 times a week you can have 5 or 10 minute practices that are still keeping the intimacy flowing and the nourishing and the magnetism and the polarity, and you kind of build and it kind of stays there instead of Friday night you've got to go from 0 to 100. That's fucking outrageous with the wives and kids.
Yeah.
Right? So you can have 15 minutes of nourishing intimacy that builds, and then when you get to your KK, we're having a little bit of a date night, but you've talked about what it is. Okay, what do you want to explore? Like, ooh, maybe I want to be tied up. Oh, all right. So let's explore that, and we'll do our stress relief. And you kind of have this foundation which just makes it a lot more beautiful and accessible. It makes the pleasure accessible.
Tara, this is fantastic. Knowing that there are tools, because I know that, you know, we can all get stuck, and to know that there are things and ways and steps and little cues and tools like this that you are providing that can take people to that next level in their relationship is unreal. Where can people find you? Give yourself a plug. So people who want to know more or might want to know more about your program.
Want to buy the program for their partner for Mother's Day.
Where do they go?
It's on my website, tarafischer.com, Fischer, Fischer. And they'll get to see the gamut of what I do. So I specialize in sexual trauma, and I do Tantra and loads of other things. And I take 5 couples because I found what was really important. I did a beta program for this. And what was really important was to have a 90-minute tailored session with me as a couple to kind of get rid of some of that awkwardness, meet the couples where they're at, and take a little bit of that pressure, like, oh, okay, we're going to do this. You know, the program is not a group thing. It's designed to do at your own pace in your own home. But I'm available for anonymous questions that I'll answer by video, because it's really shy. People are really shy to talk about sex and intimacy. So with the beta program, I really learned a lot on, okay, how can we build this framework but still do it? And that first session, personalized session with me, really helped to take some of those elephants out of the room that were hanging around, and some of that awkwardness. And I make it really fun and playful and light, not like, oh God, how many times do we have to do it? Oh, I got another job. Oh God.
Well, that would be really nerve-wracking, I would think, to go in like, I'm picturing like the majority of males, probably more than the females. I could be wrong, but the majority of males that I know, I can imagine them being like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's awkward. It's weird.
Yeah. And it's like, can we just get to like module 8 and skip module 1 to 6? It's like, well, this is where all the juice is to actually open your woman to her orgasmic potential. Is like the anatomy and the physiology and the communication and the art of ritual and sacred touch and all these beautiful, yummy pieces that will last you for life. You know, you'll keep going back to these practices and these tools where they become natural, and having, you know, even someone on the screen, it takes away the pressure from either person. Like, because you've got a third party that's teaching you and is simple, and I make it really fun and practical and doable, and also unwinding a little bit of that cultural and societal conditioning. You know, what is running me? Well, what's going on in the background for me?
And at the end of the
so
day,
it's really healing as well.
As awkward as that might feel if you're new to the concept, or if it's a new idea, you got to remember it's, you know, we've been doing it since Adam and Eve took a bite out of that apple. It's one of the oldest operating systems that's deep inside us. It is very natural after all. You know, why not learn how to do it better, deeper, you know, more.
Yeah, learn how this piece of technology, the body works. Like, we don't know how it works. I didn't know. That's why I didn't masturbate. I didn't know how I worked. But once I learned how to tune in to myself and turn myself on from the inside, there was so much more available to me.
You're a very peaceful, calming person, don't you think?
She's a great influence. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, other than my coughing fit where I had to walk out, I'm sorry about that. I just feel like I've just gone...
Yeah.
Like I feel very peaceful.
You make something that's very hard for a lot of people to verbalize or to contemplate, and you make it very digestible and understandable and safe. Very safe to discuss. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your incredible skills. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tara.
And people can also find you on social media too, Tara.
Social media, Tara Fischer _ embody the sacred.
Embody the sacred.
And on my Instagram, there's called Tantra Tips, and I've got a lot of short videos there that explain a lot as well, that are really digestible to have a good start of like, oh, what's going on?
That's
awesome.
great.
That's great. We'll put all those links up so that people can go and have a little sticky beak if they're a bit nervous.
Bloody fascinating, mate. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll let you get back to whatever it is you were doing before masturbating. I don't know. Apparently that's a big part of your life now. So
Watering my garden.
yeah, that's right.
Watering my garden. Wink, wink.
Take care,
I love
Tara. We'll
that.
talk to you soon.
Thanks,
All
Tara.
right, thank you.
Bye.
Mate. Boy,
Mateys.
we giving
George.
you the juice of life.
Aren't we what?
You know, I walked into today's episode not thinking I'd be able to breathe through my penis, but here we are.
Yep, you are. And you're penetrating the world with your cock, mate. That's exactly what she said. And it's true. You kind of think about it. When you think about that, we often put our ego forward when we're in
Yes.
our professional careers, our personal friendships, because that's our dominating force. And the ego is very groin kind of related. So I sort of see what she means.
Yeah.
Means there.
I really wanted to ask what the average penis size should be.
Yeah. Is a Tic Tac considered big? I don't really know. I haven't been with many men.
But I
Would hope
feel
so.
like her response would be, it doesn't matter what size it is. It's, about
What you do with it.
Yeah.
it's about the feeling.
I think she's just trying to teach everyone how to relearn how to do it properly in the first place. Because you're right, porn has sort of ruined it for everyone. And at the end of the day, porn is just a dopamine hit. It's not a sexual experience. It's just about accessing dopamine. Whereas she's trying to remind us that it's much deeper than that, and there's a way to go and feel so much better in the act. Pretty cool. Pretty bloody cool.
It is pretty cool. I still feel a little bit giggly schoolgirl about it.
That's because we're immature as fuck.
No.
That's why.
But I'm like,
Yeah, look.
when you look at how, she tells you that it's going to change, all these aspects of yourself and to open up. And I think that sounds amazing. But, also I 2 hours of just, being in blissful heaven.
But would you go to the beauty salon? Would you go to a retreat? Would you go to a cleansing retreat or a fasting retreat? You would do those. Why wouldn't you do this?
Well, that's
And
right.
this has probably a far more profound
Every day.
in your life
Yeah.
than cleansing once a year. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, how often do we participate in sex? What does that mean for the strength of a relationship? Are we connecting? Are we not connecting? How does exactly how she said? Your confidence is higher. You just go about life more fluidly. It has such a big impact. So why not learn how to be good at it? And the fact that she comes from a place of not, oh, look, I'm the greatest, I'm an expert in this, but she comes from a place of a trauma herself, and she's had to learn how to open up to this experience and be better at it, kind of just makes it, it feels more within reach than otherwise.
I agree.
Because when we booked this in, I'm like, this topic scares the shit out of me. And feels like, I don't know if I can do that. But when you sort of...
Look at George.
George is like, oh no, he's heard words like he's never heard before, like
When she
clitoris
first said
and
cock,
vulva.
when she first said cock, I wasn't quite sure what she said. I was like, sorry?
Yeah.
Did you- it was-
I think it's in all seriousness though. Like, yeah, I'm the same as you, Shares. Like, I went to a Catholic school, and those words were a little bit funny. But I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible what she does, because you see a psychologist or a counselor and talk about these things, and that's out of their realm. They don't really have any ability to talk
True.
about that too much, do they?
Yeah.
No, you go to an accountant, wouldn't you, to fix your account and your finances? You'd take your car to a mechanic, wouldn't you? If it's not running great. So what do we do with our sex lives? Sometimes it needs a bit of a tune-up.
I think I'm still...
Hey, some mechanics are good with sex, though, I've heard.
Oh, yeah, the way they wangle their spanner. Bloody oath.
I think I'm still stuck on, I may have walked out during it, but did she say that she gives the people like a 15-minute
I was too afraid to ask a
massage,
follow-up
or
question,
I wasn't
to be
quite
honest.
sure about... Because I know that she's not that way inclined. You
No.
know, she's an energetic healer, and we have both
I've met
seen
her
her.
partner. He's a lovely dude.
Yeah, and she's
I think she's just likes to help people heal.
yeah.
And we have many reasons why perhaps we've fallen out of love with our own body parts and the process of using them. And that is a very modern problem. It's a very common problem, and it's okay to have those issues. It's also nice to know that there's ways out of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little. She was heavy going this topic today, mate. You did well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've trained up to this moment. Everything's led to this podcast, I think, in my career so far.
So, George, how do you feel about us putting you through the Tantra course? With
I
Carly?
knew this would come.
I
knew this was happening.
And then you can report back to us after.
Tara will be just there on the screen, and you guys will be just there in the nudie Rudy, and she'll just tell you what to do. How fun does that sound?
I will do it. I will do it for the podcast if I can keep my clothes on, or if I do take them off, we'll blur it out.
Yeah, you don't need to film it for us. We just need you to, you weirdo. We just need you to just participate in it and then
He's
report
in shock.
back. I don't want to be on camera watching as this is going on.
No, I think maybe we need to do it, Grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, like I know it was a proper thing we were doing, like the closing our eyes and the breathing. But did you feel like I feel like I really need to work up to that? I wasn't
close
ready to
your
do that
eyes.
exercise.
You do it on your own, without us like weirdos looking down the camera lens at you, and you'll probably feel all it is. It's about just. It's like if you're about to go for a run, you just do a couple of squats and stretches because it brings blood to those areas, and so those limbs can operate properly. It's bloody the same with your genitals, right? So don't overthink it. It's
How
just
do
about.
you know? You're acting like you're a big pro.
Well, I was just listened. I just learned. So all you do, it's not too mystical. It's just about thinking about it, clearing your mind, breathing to slow your heart rate down, and then just squeezing in that area, and then it starts. Oh my God, you are fucking 5.
I'm joking.
We are children.
Oh my God, this is
No, I'm joking because some people this would make them feel uncomfortable.
for a lot of people, but it also could be the greatest thing that ever happened to them
I
because not
agree.
everyone has a great experience.
No, I agree.
I reckon this is a very problematic area for a lot of people. So yeah, go and check it out.
This is the first I've heard it spoken about openly. Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
no one's
powerful.
ever like just even the idea of asking for what you want feels a
Seems
bit
so
out there.
simple,
And
but-
it seems so simple, but also a bit scary. This, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and that's when I realised we're at level 1. But yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up. It's been enjoyable.
It has been enjoyable.
I think we'll think about this a lot.
And I think, leave us a review with, any follow-up questions or anything if you're a bit too, or send us a DM if you want us to have any follow-up questions with Tara and you're a little bit nervous.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll do those anonymously. And we can always get her back on. I mean, I think the difficulty
That's
is
a
that
great
she
idea.
is thank you.
Lots of questions, and then we'll get her on to answer them.
She is so light years ahead in obviously feeling, comfortable with all of this. This
Yeah,
is a
it
very new
doesn't worry
space
her.
for many
Yeah.
people, and I know the majority of people listening probably do have kids and jobs, and the thought of spending 2 hours of intimacy dancing and all of that seems a bit out there.
It's not. When you think about it, when we were in the 90s, remember Dr. Feelgood was a thing on radio where she would sort of deal with these things a lot.
Yes.
Remember her, Fiona? She was a big media personality at the time. So
Yes.
there's
something there.
Yeah, something there. Send us questions. Let's get it back on to ask them, and they can be as weird and wonderful and wild as you want them to be, or personal or uncomfortable.
Because she's very passionate about this. And what she said to me as well was that this really changed her life. And I probably should have got her to expand on that. But, this changed her life and gave her a sense of empowerment. And
I wonder if that comes back to if you can't love yourself, you can't love others. And she's had to learn to love and appreciate her own body. And she's worked through the traumas that were preventing her from loving her own body. So now she can kind of love freely and openly and help others. So and that is a pretty powerful principle. You have to love yourself first before you can love others. Mm-hmm. Cool. Good chat, everyone.
Good chat.
You know who
Cheers
I feel
for being
sorry
open,
for?
guys.
I feel sorry for Carly tonight because, boy, is she going to cop it.
Oh, my God, I feel sorry for George cutting up this an hour and a half episode.
George, just remember tonight with your new girlfriend, she's like a flower. She needs to open slowly.
I'll go to Bunnings and buy a watering can.
Yeah, buddy. Hit her over the head, drag her into the cave like they did in the old days.
Oh, my God.
Nah,
We love you.
See you, buddy.
See you next
Love
week.
you guys. Be true.
Bye.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shezzy Denya.
Bye